Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever, wherever you are watching this. My name is Marcus Octavius. This is not the foxhole. This is more or less a commentary on some things that have, excuse me, happened this week in terms of the entertainment world. One of them is very mainstream, very well known. The other one is one that a lot of people may not know about, but I am informing now. Excuse me. This is a particular subject that, unfortunately, I won't say I steered away from it, but when I started this channel and started to put a more online presence out here back in the spring, I did it under the shadow of course, a pandemic, which is still going on, and also did it under the shadow of what I consider to be the greatest civil rights movement really since the 60s. So I knew that eventually I would have to confront this issue, and I've sort of done it in bits and pieces. If you've ever watched my program, the intros I use for the Foxhole playlist, you know that I support Black Lives Matter. I support the protests. I support them 100%. And that's sort of the stance I have with that. And this is definitely in regards to that. And the first piece of business I want to discuss is somebody who is not just a country music legend, but really to me is an entertainment legend, and that's Dolly Parton. Excuse me. It was reported about 8 days ago. She did an interview, I think, with NPR, National Public Radio, where she was asked about her stance on Black Lives Matter. And she 100% unequivocally, without a shadow of a doubt, was for the movement. And this, of course, being a country music legend, definitely polarized a lot of her fans. One particular one is a gentleman named Stuart Baker. You may not know Stuart Baker, but you may know him under his rockabilly, psychobilly alter ego, Unknown Hinson. And a few days later, he came out and voiced his opinion to Dolly Parton coming out in favor of Black Lives Matter, and called her, and I quote, a freak-titted old southern bimbo and a slut, end quote. Since then, he has lost his job with Cartoon Network. He was one of the main voices for the Adult Swim show The Squidbillies. As Unknown Hinson, he's also lost a number of gigs. It occurs to me that Mr. Baker's career is all but over, because his paycheck gig, the one that he was using to keep the lights on, he no longer works. A number of his Unknown Hinson dates have been canceled, if he had any at all, during this whole virus. And in response to that, instead of taking ownership and admitting that maybe he was wrong, he came out again on Facebook and voiced his displeasure at not only the Black Lives Matter movement, but at social justice warriors. Essentially, ladies and gentlemen, he blamed everybody but himself and refused to take full 100% ownership over what he said. Now, the interesting thing about this is that the initial post he made, calling Dolly Parton what he did, was deleted from Facebook. But if you know certain people, you can find the links, and, people screenshot things all the time. I'm not one of these types that stays on their phone 24/7 per se, but that is sort of where we're at with that. Something a little bit more nuanced and a little bit more underground is a post that a belly dancer, a person who practices dance oriental, as we call it, she made a post about 5 days ago entitled "Clean Your House." And it was a commentary on a number of international belly dancers and local ones as well. Not only that, but musicians and promoters who have basically outed themselves as racist. There's no other way to put it. Some of them have performed in blackface. Some of them have made racial slurs. Some of them have made racist statements. There's even one particular one out of Florida who likened pedophilia to gays and lesbians, and people like onto it. And on this post, this Facebook post, there is a list of these performers and these particular individuals. There's even a number of people who, in response to the accusations and the statements they've made, have tried to defend this. Even one friend of mine has told me that a person who performed in blackface has actually tried to justify and defend them performing in blackface by saying that it's artistic. Yeah. That is where we're at with that. Seeing these two stories develop and envelop me essentially forced my hand to make some sort of statement. In regards to the whole Dolly Parton unknown Hinson situation, Mr. Baker has revealed to me his true colors. I think it is, for him to take the stance that he has, is very disrespectful. It's disrespectful to a woman that, to the best of my knowledge, has not really aired a political opinion, has not really been in a whole lot of trouble, is an individual who's about her music, about her Dollywood, and is about her private life. And for somebody to basically say what they said to her, first of all, it's insulting. Let's take the racial connotation out of it. First of all, it's insulting to her. And in a roundabout way, it's insulting to women. Dolly Parton has never done anything to anybody except try to entertain the millions and millions of fans. I am sure that her coming out in support of Black Lives Matter has probably alienated some, maybe a lot of them. And these are individuals who are entitled to their opinion. Here is the problem. Having an opinion does not exempt you from being judged or being measured. And when you come out very harshly against somebody who basically has an opinion that you do not share, of course there's going to be backlash. And for Mr. Baker, Mr. Unknown Hinson, to not take a step back and look at the bigger picture, and for him to charge ahead with his opinion and stick behind it, to me is ignorant, short-sighted, and really in a way very cowardly. Now, I don't know if he's going to watch this video. I don't know if anybody's going to send it to him, but I'm comparatively speaking, I'm a nobody. This guy, has performed in front of big audiences. He's on the Cartoon Network, or he was on the Cartoon Network. I am neither of those things, so I honestly have no reason to take back my words. He'll probably, if he reads this and if he feels so inclined, he'll probably call me an N-word. I don't know. It is what it is. But, he dug his own grave in this regard. He called really a respectful, sweet woman, to the best of my knowledge, a big-titted Southern bimbo. So, you should expect backlash. And the thing about it is that people came in Dolly's defense. Dolly did not, because Dolly is basically, a classy Southern woman. So it speaks very highly of Dolly that, she would take, the high road, and this Stuart Baker, this unknown Hinson, basically said what he said, and then when he lost his job, lost his gigs, basically doubled down on it and accused everybody except himself of losing what he lost. So, say what you want to about the guy. It sounds like, it's sour lemons, sour persimmons. At the end of the day, he gets what he asked for. As far as the dancers are concerned, one thing that I will tell some of you who are not familiar is that the belly dance community, the dance oriental community, since Black Lives Matter has come out, has really gone through basically a transformation, like so many other communities and subcultures and things of that nature, where people who we formerly thought got it really do not. When you perform the dance that we do, you understand that there's a sense of respect for the culture it comes from. And for an individual to take this dance and make it a part of themselves and then come out against really racial equality is not only mind-boggling, it's very telling. And then, much like Mr. Baker, you double down on it and try to justify it. It makes it even worse. Um, we are living in a very interesting time. We are living in a world where we really, really need to sit down and think about how we interact with people, where our standards are, and we really need to look at what is going on and why is it happening. One of my biggest issues is that a lot of these people who have come out against the protests are not asking why it happens. And they want to give excuses. They want to say this. They want to say that. They want to go on and so forth. And people who are non-POCs coming out in support of POCs are much like Mr. Baker. They're calling these individuals traitors. And I'm sitting here thinking, you're missing the point. And I'll give you a perfect example. When Donald Trump, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear his name, but just hear me out. When Donald Trump decided to have his Tulsa rally, there were a number of young individuals, I believe they were mostly teenagers or young 20-year-olds, who went and bought seats to the Tulsa rally to basically make sure that the amount of people who showed up didn't show up. This gives me hope for the future, ladies and gentlemen, and you got to understand something, that the youth are looking at their parents and looking at what their parents are saying and doing and going, you know what? I want no part of this. This is wrong. This is wrong, wrong, wrong. And that's the stance that a lot of young people are taking. And I think that some of us older individuals could look to that and go, you know, maybe I have the wrong idea. If you want to stick behind your beliefs and your belief system, that is fine. But if you're on the wrong side of history, you have nobody to blame but yourself. You made a decision to make the stance that you made. You made your bed, you need to lie in it. You can't blame anybody else. At this point, you know, I've run out of pretty much anything to say. I'm tired, I'm hungry, and I'm just going to leave this here. Please like, share, subscribe. Hopefully, if I have to do these kind of videos again, it will be way down the road. If not, then so be it. My name is Marcus Octavius. Have a good evening.